Hello everyone. And now we move forward to one of the most eagerly awaited event of the day, an all-women panel discussion, themed Stories Unsaid and Unheard. As they say, there is no force equal to a woman determined to rise. To commemorate the achievements of the women leaders in our fraternity and to celebrate the International Women's Day, we have taken a step in a new direction and decided to host an event which is the first of its kind in IIFT. Under the banner of Netritva, we present Stories Unsaid and Unheard. The panel discussion will be centered around the learnings and insights gained from diverse experiences of our esteemed panelists. The panelists in today's discussion are women who have carved a niche for themselves in the corporate and entrepreneurial landscape. Known for their fearlessness and passion, each of them have conquered great heights. A zeal for positive results and a fire to flare up the ember to take risks is what makes them who they are. I consider it my honor to introduce to you the distinguished panel members for the discussion. We have with us Ms. Anuradha Sehgal, an alumna from the 1985 batch. She is currently the business head of Mint at HT Media. Ms. Anuradha Sehgal is a seasoned marketer who holds experience from coveted organizations such as HUL, Whirlpool, Reckitt Benckiser, and Airtel. She is a specialist in the areas of brands and marketing management. Her claim to fame was the campaign Har Ek Friend Zaruri Hota Hai at Airtel. She also has some experience in the startup ecosystem as the CMO at Lenskart. Ms. Sehgal also had a stint in the very interesting world of arts, literature, and cultural events as a consultant to the world-famous Jaipur Literature Festival with Teamwork Arts. We welcome you to Netritva. Next up, we have Ms. Rashi Gandhi, an alumna from the 2000 batch. She is currently the Vice President Marketing at an early-stage health tech startup. She holds a Master's in Economics from the Delhi School of Economics. A passionate and driven business leader with over 15 years of marketing, new business development, and innovation experience in leading companies, both Indian and multinational, such as Frito-Lay, Ranbaxy Consumer Healthcare, Reckitt Benckiser, Abbott Rapid Diagnostics, and Dr. Lal Path Labs. She has developed deep domain expertise in the healthcare industry, spanning products and consumer services. Ms. Rashi is also a proud hands-on mother of a teenager and has successfully recalibrated her career after a sabbatical. We're pleased to have you with us, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. We also have with us Ms. Manasi Chadha, an alumna from the 2005 batch. She's currently the head digital experience APAC at Uber. She is someone who is passionate about cricket, people, board games, and travel. She describes herself as a mom who wants it all. With a career spanning a decade and a half across retail, consulting, and tech, she still believes she is only in the venture funding stage of her career. She recently discovered that it is never too late to learn a new life skill, and so taught herself to cook her way through the lockdown. She has been awarded the Uber Super Squad Award in 2019, the CII Award for Customer Obsession in 2019. We welcome you to Netritva.
Thank you so much, Arvind. So happy to be here.
I'm pleased to introduce Ms. Sujata Biswas, an alumna from the 2009 batch. She is an entrepreneur who is the co-founder of Suta, an exquisite women's ethnic wear brand. From the safety of corporate job, Ms. Sujata plunged into a completely new industry with no prior experience. After coming in close contact with traditional weavers and hearing their heart-wrenching stories, her passion and belief in the weavers and the urge to make a difference in their lives continues to be her biggest driver. Ms. Biswas holds numerous accolades to her name, such as the winner of the Times She Ltd Entrepreneur Awards 2019. We welcome you, ma'am, to Netritva. Now, completing the panel is Ms. Swati Maheshwari, an alumna from the 2010 batch. She is currently the Customer Cluster Manager, Delhi and NCR at Unilever. Ms. Swati Maheshwari has had a stint with the FMCG behemoths like ITC and is currently at Unilever. She has worked across rural and urban markets in the north before moving as global brand manager for Tresemme and Clear for South Asia. She also did a national account role in modern trade. Her interest lies in shopper, channel strategy redesign, and GTM models, and is lauded in the organization for her team management skills and for maneuvering cross-functional projects to great returns. Ma'am, we are honored and we welcome you to Netritva. We also have Dr. Pooja Lakhanpal, who will moderate the discussion. She is the professor and the head, Executive Management Programs Division at IIFT, and specializes in the fields of human resource management, business excellence, training, and negotiation. She has been with IIFT since 2006. Dr. Pooja Lakhanpal has completed her master's from University of Mumbai and doctorate from Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. I once again welcome you all to Netritva and thank you for accepting our humble invitation and gracing the occasion with your presence. Now, we hand it over to Dr. Pooja Lakhanpal to carry forward the discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gunjan. So happy to be here. Also, a warm welcome to all these wonderful, beautiful ladies that I see here on my screen. That everybody, I'm sure, is, whoever is connected is also going to this. So thank you all for joining us today. So just to just to set the ball rolling and put everything in motion, we want to know about your journey, the challenges that you have faced, and, research, even till date, the latest report of McKinsey says that there are only 21% of women who, who are in leadership positions or, C-suite positions, as we call it. So what do you think has really changed? And what has your journey been like, So we can start with Manasi.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Like I said, thanks to the entire alumni team for reaching out to me and giving me an opportunity to be part of this amazing panel of women. Swati, Rashi, Anuradha, Sujata, just humbled to share this virtual stage with you all. And I hope we are able to share our journeys with each other and hope the batch is able to relate to some of these. But to your question, Pooja ma'am, I think if I just look at the entire workspace today, I think just going back to when I joined in 2005 and started my career journey to now, I do see that there are a lot of changes. Back in the day, I was probably the only woman in the room at that point in time. Started my journey in the retail sector. And that point, we would not have consulting companies that used to come to campus. And as someone who was very keen to look at a career in consulting, I made the switch a year and a half later, and really then spent over more than a decade in consulting, where I for a large part, really the representation of women at work was something that was few, both in terms of numbers, right at the starting point. But I think over a period of time, I have seen that change, and that change at entry level, is something that I think we're all getting used to, and it's very encouraging. Very often, I do think that the work-family narrative is something that's used to explain the imbalance at various levels in the organization. But I do think that a lot of this has to do with inherent stereotypes, and today women at work are really taking on those stereotypes, and some of our career journeys are an example of that.
Yeah, sure. And Anuradha, I just want to check with you because Preeti mentioned that in her video that there were just three women as part of the management trainee group that were recruited for HCL, and it was considered that there are only a few roles which are fit for women. So, do you think the situation has changed at all, or do you still think that you have to put in twice the amount of work, or to justify?
Hi, Pooja. So, I think a lot has changed for sure, but a lot remains the same. Let me explain. Way back in 1995, when I joined Levers, I think, there was we were in a batch, I think 25 to 30% were women. It was a fairly healthy mix, even back then. Levers was very, very conscious of picking up candidates, with the equal representation of the two genders. But it was the challenges once you did join a job. I think the fighting stereotypes, of finding places which are more women friendly. I was in a CFA, I remember, and there was no washroom. And this is after of course everyone knew that I was a woman serving in a CFA in Bareilly or in Jaipur. There were no washrooms for women, or washrooms per se. Things like that, basic hygiene, I remember, things like that may have changed, but what does not change is stereotyping. I believe we, belong to a patriarchal society, and consciously or unconsciously, I think we do assign roles to women. We expect women to be gentler. We do not take as kindly to women being firm or women being aggressive. There is an unspoken, reality, which I think we all kind of maneuver. I think all of us have learned to smartly work our way around it. Sometimes, you use it to your advantage because you are noticed. And that's a fact. You do, if you're intelligent and if you have a point to make, you will be noticed in a sea of very homogeneous looking men. You will stand out. Let's just accept it. But then you will have to be taken seriously, to make your point with a voice which is not as rich as a man's. Just minor things that you will have to work around. So a lot has changed. The basics, I think, are in place. You do not have to assert, or the mindset has changed a lot. But a lot has still to be done, because and that comes from where we are brought up, how we are brought up as children, how the men who are working around us have been brought up as children. That is going to take some time.
Yes.
As more and more people have working mothers, as more and more people have spouses who work, you're going to see that change, because what you learn from outside will filter into then your work environment as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Anuradha. Rashi, your perspective on this. What's your journey been like? So, Rashi, you're on mute.
First of all, honored, elated, and so proud to be here, sharing screen space with my co-panelist, having all my batchmates hopefully watching us. Well, my journey has been more than challenging. And I think, you mentioned, Dr. Pooja, that, the statistics put out by McKinsey, and it doesn't surprise me one bit. Because I think if there is something called a B suit, then one must look at the figures there, because once you've crossed that particular barrier, can you move on really to the next one? What happens mostly, and all of us here have had experience in multiple organizations going through the curve there, is that it cannot be, a KRA of a single function, which is HR, which is to recruit, women. It has to be the KRA for the top management to not only recruit, but also retain. So once the recruitment is done, how are you making sure that the women that you have recruited are in a position to stay for a longer time? It's not you kind of screen their journey or monitor their journey for 3 months or 6 months till they settle in. But, a formal mentor-mentee relationship where she can share with not only her line manager, but with the concerned people that there are some things which need to be taken care of. So for example, and just a case in point, organizations kind of set up meetings any time of the day. Now imagine a young mother, she has to pick up her child from daycare at 6. You schedule a meeting at 5:30. Is that really necessary? I mean, can it not be done during the first half of the day? So, the whole mindset is, as Anuradha said, very patriarchal. If we were really designed to blend in, we would not be women. We would not be standing out. So instead of making it something so homogeneous where everybody has to follow the beaten path, why is it that these things, these kind of sensitivities do not come into the minds of the people who are functional heads? And as I said, it can't be just an HR thing. Because if it's an HR thing, this is what we're going to see, whether it's C suit, B suit, or whatever other suit it's going to be. And I think that mindset needs to change. The top management involvement, there has to be certain more rigor. These can't just be buzzwords of diversity and inclusivity, which comes up only at the time of Women's Day. It has to be something which is far long running than this. It has to be more meaningful. And I think as more and more women come into leadership positions, I hope there will be more meaning put to these kind of buzzwords, and we'll see real action on the ground. So I think that's what, and of course, I've been through my my turmoils in that respect. And yes, I've come back. But I'm sure there are a lot of people who are not able to come back with the same, gusto. You kind of sometimes lose steam as women grow, up in their career ladder. There is more roles that are assigned to her as a caregiver. And at that time is when you want to also give the maximum to every role. So it's not about, being substandard in one particular role. It's about being the best in every role. And I think that's what women aspire for. So sometimes we are a little hard on ourselves. So I think we need to be a little less hard on ourselves as well.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Rashi. So many of those things resonate, And Sujata and Swati, you're the, the youngest, the most recent batches which you have, passed out. And how do you compare your experiences? Sujata, you are now an entrepreneur also. So, what made you strike out on your own? Was it that, the corporate life was too much and you said, look, I want to be my own boss now? So what was it that prompted you to take that step?
So I'm just loving the conversation, the direction of thinking, and it just reaffirms the belief that, we are on the right track and things are going to change for my son, for probably my daughters or my nieces. So I'll tell you one thing, which I think I'll take it on from Rashi's point is, even the question that we are measuring again whether women are there or not is again a stereotype, I feel. So why don't we, probably in a men's conference, have we ever asked that how many are actually participating in making a home? So it itself is a question that is not asked, and the question itself is again stereotyping. So I think one thing we have to move away is from the judgment that the society has, be it a woman staying at home. We judge that she is just quit and staying at home. And if she has left her kid at home and gone to office, somebody is judging that, oh, she's not a good mother. She's not taking care of the kid. So this judgment has to go. I think that's the only thing that has to break. Apart from that, I don't think there's nothing about equality, not equality. It's the same for men. If a man wants to quit and poor guy wants to take care of the kid, there'll be society raising questions. So I think that's what we need to talk about. Why I quit my corporate is nothing to do with me being a woman or a man. I really wanted to give back to the society, work with the artisans and weavers. Me and my sister took a plunge. We both quit at the same time. Very difficult. Obviously, there were a lot of questions. But we made sure when we quit, we could at least draw 20,000 in hand. So at least we don't have to ask for basic needs money from somebody. So yeah, that's when we quit. And yes, there were judgments. But we just felt that there was a need to create a value, and we just jumped in it.
Great, great. Yeah, I think this is what you said. We are also still asking maybe the same, stereotype questions, and we're still painting the same picture. So we're not able to really see something new come up. Yeah, thanks for that, Sujata. Swati, what about you? How do you feel comparing your experience with the others here?
Yes. So, Pooja ma'am, thanks for having me here and glad to be sharing the screen with some really fearless, illustrious women here that we have on the panel. I think the way to look at it and the way I see it is that there is definitely a ray of light and definitely things are moving in the right direction. I joined ITC in 2010 as a young manager, and I was probably one of the only women in sales and marketing. But going forward to now, there are a lot of women who've joined and are part of my batch or also my peer, my senior. And more women are today joining senior positions, joining leadership CXO positions in Unilever now. So things are definitely changing, but I couldn't agree more with my co-panelist here. And I would just like to sort of point out three types of biases or sort of stereotypes that I've noticed in organizations I've worked with. First is this bias or even that unconscious bias. I wouldn't even call it stereotype because a lot of people just think about it and maybe they don't mean it, but there is an unconscious bias that some types of roles are only suited for women. So there is always this thinking that probably women cannot be in sales, women cannot work in markets like Northeast, markets like Rajasthan, work in rural markets. So there is this this small unconscious bias which is there that probably if there is a woman and we've hired her, let us put her in in a role or position where she might feel comfortable. So that's the kind of bias that I have noticed around me. The second bias is around saying what is more natural to women, what is more not so natural to women. So for example, I'm a new mother. I have a boy who is now 1 year, and the some of the conversations that have happened with me around is can you really manage you're such a young kid along with work? Don't you think you should have taken an extended maternity leave? Don't you think you should have gone on a sabbatical? Maybe that would help you more. Do you have the right kind of support? Do you think you can manage everything on your own? So those questions do come around. I think I still haven't figured out whether they come from a place of concern or whether they come from a place of really bias that maybe women cannot handle the two things, work and family together. The third piece is, Pooja, where I find guilty myself as a woman, is the fact that a lot of times I've struggled internally to say that, listen, if I want to be a CXO or I want to grow up in the organization, I will have to sacrifice so many things and I'll have to compete with so many people and do things so differently. And that's the bias I hold within myself as a woman. A lot of times I genuinely feel that the whole world is against me and I'm competing against everybody else. And there is so much pressure that we put on ourselves. And that is also one of the reasons, maybe, Pooja, that women need to have conversations. Women need to come out and think about the fact that it's okay to let go of your family, make some sacrifices, possibly for work, if you really want to do that. And also feel okay that, work can be looked at from a different perspective. Maybe work doesn't need so many hours if you can't put it. But maybe because I really believe women are all superhumans, maybe we can work faster and be better and more efficient in those many hours that we can crunch for work.